How the universe examines you before changing your reality. Carl Jung. Before the universe gives you what you ask for, it tests who you've become. Not because it's cruel, but because it's precise. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And until your identity aligns with the reality you seek, you'll keep repeating the same cycles, no matter how badly you wish for change. Carl Jung believed that true transformation doesn't begin with new habits, but with a new sense of self. The question isn't, how do I get what I want? It's, who must I become to receive it? And becoming isn't easy. It requires letting go of illusions, of comfort, of who you thought you were. Because the universe isn't interested in who you pretend to be. It listens to your vibration, not your words. The universe tests you in silence, not with big warnings, but with subtle discomfort. It watches how you respond when nothing seems to move, when doors stay shut, when your prayers echo back in stillness. That's the first test. Can you hold the vision even when there's no evidence? Most people quit, not because it's hard, but because they expected results on their schedule. But growth doesn't happen on demand. It happens when you're stripped of guarantees and still choose to rise. Jung taught that the unconscious shapes our destiny until we make it conscious. And those silent seasons, they reveal what you really believe. They show whether your mindset is aligned or just memorized. The second test, can you sit with yourself without distraction? Before the universe shifts your outer reality, it forces you inward. It pulls away the noise, the constant scrolling, the shallow conversations, the fake affirmations, until you're left with just you. And that silence, that's where the real confrontation happens. Because most people don't fear change. They fear the parts of themselves they'll meet in the process. Carl Jung warned, you meet your destiny on the road you take to avoid it. So when everything external slows down, it's not a punishment. It's an invitation to hear your true voice, to see what you've been avoiding, and to finally decide whether your comfort is more important than your evolution. The third test, can you let go of what no longer serves you, even if it once felt essential? Growth always demands loss, not as punishment, but as purification. You'll be asked to release people you thought you couldn't live without. Beliefs that once gave you identity, routines that kept you feeling safe, but small, and it won't feel clear at first. It'll feel like confusion, loneliness, even betrayal. But Carl Jung said, you must be willing to let go of the life you've planned so as to have the life that is waiting for you. The universe will not elevate you while you're still clinging to old versions of yourself. That weight has to go. Only then can you rise. The fourth test, can you keep moving without applause? In the early stages of transformation, there is no audience, no validation, no visible reward. You'll show up every day to routines that feel invisible, to choices that no one celebrates, to healing that no one sees. And that's the point. The universe is watching. Are you doing it for attention? Or because you've finally decided that you are worth the effort, even when no one is clapping? Carl Jung believed the authentic self emerges not in the spotlight but in solitude. That's where the real becoming happens. In quiet repetitions, in private discipline, in lonely courage. When no one's watching, who are you really? The fifth test, can you choose your higher self over your history? There will come a moment when the old version of you begs to return, to the excuses, to the distractions, to the identity that kept you safe but stuck. And in that moment, the universe will whisper, choose. Not between good and bad, but between comfort and purpose. Between staying the same and becoming who you were meant to be. Carl Jung taught that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This test is about reclaiming authorship, realizing you are not your past. You are the decision you make next. You don't heal by wishing for change. You heal by choosing it again and again, especially when it's hard. The sixth test. Can you embody the new reality before it arrives? This is where most give up. They wait for change to prove itself, for the money to show, for the person to appear, for the dream to manifest. But the universe doesn't respond to waiting. It responds to embodiment. Can you act like the healed version of you while the wounds still ache? Can you walk like you already belong there, in the life you asked for, even when nothing around you has shifted yet? Carl Jung believed the psyche moves toward wholeness, but only when we allow it. You don't become the future you by thinking about it. You become it by behaving as them. Now, even when it feels fake, even when it's lonely. That's the test. Are you ready to live the answer before it arrives? The final test isn't about proving yourself to the universe, it's about proving to yourself that you've changed. Because once you pass these invisible trials, reality begins to respond. Not immediately, not all at once, but unmistakably. Synchronicities align, people shift, opportunities surface, seemingly out of nowhere. Not because you forced them, but because you became the version of you that naturally receives them. Carl Jung taught that transformation is not magic, it is integration. When the inner changes, the outer must follow. So if you feel stuck, ask not, why isn't it happening? But, who am I being? Because the universe doesn't give you what you want. It mirrors who you are.